to the Quality of Life podcast. My name is Erin Olson, and I am a businesswoman and mother who has been studying personal growth for over 15 years. I've tried almost all of the habits and hacks out there. My goal is to use my real-life experience to show you which tricks and habits make the biggest changes to your quality of life with the least amount of time and energy on your part. We will cover everything from habits to hacks, fitness to family, and everything in between. Now, let's dive on into today's topic. Hey guys, welcome back to the Quality of Life podcast. This is your host, Erin Olson, and if you're listening to this podcast, that probably means that something inside of you is starting to wake up and dream for something more. I am so excited for you. Now, as you've started dreaming, you've probably started to act a little different. Maybe you have a little more confidence, maybe you've lost a little weight, maybe you complain less, maybe you have more hope, or maybe you just have an all-around better mood. And as you've started to act, look, or think differently, some people might have noticed, and some have encouraged you, but there might be a few who have judged you for it, saying things like, "You've changed," or "Do you really think you can do that?" Or "What makes you think you are qualified to do that?" Or "That's not the kind of person you are." Or you might just have people who are just trying to talk you out of it. Well, this episode is all about dealing with them. I have had more than my fair share of people who didn't believe I could do what I've dreamed of, and those who tried to change my mind. And from the other side of each time that I followed through and achieved my goals, I have learned some tips that might be able to help you to deal with these dream crushers in your life. But first, real quick, I want to ask you how you felt about last week's homework. I hope you followed the instructions and evaluated those that are closest to you. And I hope you made an effort to add at least one friend above your level. And this week's episode might even shine a light on someone who doesn't deserve to be so close to you. So let's get back to it. First, if there are people who troll you on the internet, I want you to remember that their opinion literally means nothing. They are just keyboard warriors that make themselves feel better by putting down others. Pay zero attention to them. Really. If there are comments on any of your posts or pictures about the journey that you're on that don't serve you, delete them. Seriously. Because those posts have no purpose other than to hurt you. And that is just plain wrong. So delete those posts, delete those people, unfriend those people, whatever you got to do, because those people are never going to support you. And I just want to remind you about the story of the crabs. I know I covered it a few episodes back, but I have to revisit this story. And this is a story of a person who went to go and catch crabs with a fisherman. When they started bringing in the crabs, the fisherman just put the crabs in a bucket with no top. And the guy couldn't figure out why he didn't cover it so the crabs never crawled out. And the fisherman said to him that it doesn't matter which crab climbs up, all the other crabs will pull it back down and then put it beneath them so that they can try to climb up. The weak will always step on each other and the strong will lift each other. So don't feel bad or dismayed or anything if somebody is trying to pull you back down to the person who you once were. Okay, so here are some facts to show that you don't need approval of others to do something great, okay? So we've all heard about the approval ratings of presidents, and I found something interesting about the last 12 presidents. Of all of the approval ratings, Bill Clinton had the highest rating with 66%, and the lowest rating was 24%. Okay, so what that means is that 34% of people in the United States did not approve of Clinton. So even though he had the best rating of all of them, there were still 34% of all Americans who despised him. So if that doesn't make you feel better, maybe these other facts will. So back when Martin Luther King Jr. was getting ready to do his I Have a Dream speech, did you know that his approval rating among Americans was only 20%? Seriously, that means that 80% of Americans did not agree or approve of what Martin Luther King Jr. said. And his speech was literally, "I have a dream." So looking back now, wouldn't you say he was a history maker and a game changer? So use that for a little bit of fuel. Another person who also didn't receive any approval was Michael Jordan, of all people. He was cut from his high school basketball team because he did not have the talent or was not good enough to be part of it. Think about that for a second. And there's another guy you might have heard of named Stephen King, who threw his first story in the garbage, and his wife pulled it out of the trash and convinced him to keep trying. And he almost gave up writing when that book was called trash by over 30 publishing houses. Now, we've all heard of Stephen King, and can you imagine if he didn't go on and persevere despite what others thought of him? Okay, well, if that doesn't do it for you, I will give you one last example. Even Elvis Presley was told, "You ain't going nowhere, son. You ought to go back to driving a truck," by the manager of the Grand Ole Opry. Think about that. Can you imagine if any of these people would have listened to the people who doubted them? I mean, all of these people changed history in one way, shape, or form. There's so many more that I can't even include in this story, but I hope that you use these examples to fuel your future. Now, I know that the hardest opinions to shake off are those of your parents and closest friends or significant others. They need to be addressed a little bit differently. If your parents try to talk you down from striving for something different, it is likely that they are just worried that you're going to get hurt, or maybe they've tried in the past themselves and have failed. Usually, they are just trying to protect you with love. But friends, your parents raised you well, and they have lived their lives. Now is your time to live yours. Tell them thank you for their worry, but it's your time to try something new. And as much as their wisdom is appreciated, sometimes we have to learn from our own experiences and continue on. If it's your friends that are not super supportive when you strive for something new, maybe they don't like this new person you've become, or you're making them feel bad or uncomfortable, this is a key that they might not be the best fit for your friends group. Here's the thing. You are not responsible for how someone feels about you. Really. As long as you are acting with integrity, you cannot control how you make others feel. Not only that, you do not have to change their mind. They are not on this journey. And honestly, they might not deserve to be on it with you. A lot of times, we don't get to bring everyone along with us because they are not willing to make the hard choices, be disciplined, and do the work to get there. And when they don't decide to do it with you, your changing can shine a light on their staying the same and not growing. You have got to know this going into your new stage. It might be tough, but this is so worth it. The truth is, if we continue to hold tightly to the way things are, you cannot open your hands to receive that next level, or even the map to it. You've got to let go of these naysayers and use those harsh judgments and rude comments of this group as fuel to make it happen. For me, when someone tries to snuff out the spark of a new dream that I have, I secretly hope that they say I won't, so I can prove them wrong. I also have a screw them list for those who are never going to approve of you, and that list also fuels me when my motivation is lacking. But here is the funny part. When you do persevere and you do lose the weight, get the business running, make more money, or win that race, those are the same people who are going to say, "I knew it all along." Right. But you know what? It is still worth it to prove them wrong. And finally, if your spouse or significant other doesn't want to get on board with your idea, they might be worried that you'll outgrow them, or that you'll put your family second, or ruin them financially. This is a conversation that you are going to have. Reassurance that you're not going anywhere and that this is a dream in your heart and it would mean the world to you to have their support and maybe them as part of the team. Let them know that you are always going to put family and them first. If they are still unsure, ask them for ideas that they have for ways to make it happen that would put their mind at ease. Sometimes that alone can get their buy-in. I am telling you, this dream or goal is worth all of the hard conversations and the hard work. But if you know what to expect and how to respond to it, you have the power to defeat these naysayers and to achieve your goal or dream. Now, if you've gotten some pushback from friends or family, know that this is a sign that you are doing something worthwhile. Your homework this week is to have the hard conversation because you've got to let go of this worry and stress so that you have the energy to make that goal or dream come true. You owe it to yourself to find out exactly what you're made of. Well, guys, I am so excited to see the stories of you making it. If you would share this with a friend or two that you see trying to reach their goals, I would so appreciate it. Please go and rate this episode on your podcast platform, and I really hope that this helped you and you took some value from it. Thank you so much for listening, and I'm going to see you next week on the Quality of Life podcast. See ya! Thanks for listening to today's episode. Be sure to check us out on the Quality of Life podcast, Facebook and Instagram pages, and our website, theerinolson.com, for downloads and more information. That is TheErinolson.com. Stay up to date by joining our email newsletter. Together, we can improve all of our quality of life.